Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back once again. Today we're going to be checking out the interior for the manor house that we recently made, along with a couple exterior things as well. As you can see, the front is definitely looking quite a bit nicer since I guess the last time you guys saw it. As you can see, there's some little decorative bushes just kind of sporadically placed about. There's also a path, which is somewhat done. I'm still kind of waiting for some other houses to be placed down, and then we'll try and get that all connected together and make a nice proper road. And there's also quite a bit of vines draping down from the roof, and as you can see, the rest of the city has that same thing going for it as well, so I'm just trying to make everything match. But yeah, those basically go all around the build, and as we come around here, you'll see I added this staircase to the back, which is also cool if you end up hollowing it out, because you can turn it into some kind of a storage shed and just throw some wood in there. So whoever the owner is can keep the fire going. And there should be, yeah, the chimney here on the far right of the build. And as you can see, it's a very oddly shaped one that kind of wraps around the building, but in the end, I think it's pretty cool. Definitely has a nice style to it. And we've got some smoke to top that off. But this staircase here, not only does it look cool, but it's also really effective. And by that, I just mean it makes it a lot faster to get inside the house if you're in the backyard. In fact, right now I'll go ahead and show you how long it takes to go all the way downstairs and actually get out the front door. And you can imagine that if you were upstairs in the house, it would definitely provide a quicker escape. But I believe that should cover all of the exterior additions. So now we'll go ahead and make our way inside and check out the first floor. But anyways, first things first, over here to the left-hand side, you'll notice we have a nice little lounge area just to fill up all the blank space, and in here you've got a nice table with some candle lights so you can read any books you pick off the bookshelf here. And I noticed the back wall was looking rather flat, so I decided to throw a little tiny window in there, and that just looks down at the stairway that goes all the way down there to where the servants work. But we'll go ahead and check that out in just a second. But first things first, we will take a look at the rest of the first floor. This here is just the main hallway though. And as you can see, in this section we have a bookshelf, once again, just to fill up some blank space, and also a table where you could sit down and play some cards, or if you've got plenty of guests and company over and this table in here just isn't enough room to eat your meals, that could kind of serve as a backup. But this is the main living room, and as you can see, you've got a nice little seating arrangement here that kind of wraps around the main table, and there's also this big giant fireplace and a cool little chandelier there, and also a bookshelf right here. And throughout the build, you'll notice there are quite a few plants like this just kind of scattered about, and I think it really helps kind of break up the whole build, make it look a lot less, not really sure how to describe it, but it definitely makes the build look a lot more windy, and you've really got to take time to explore every little nook and cranny. But this section here is the, I guess, owner's bedroom. There is one upstairs as well, but I kind of turned that into the kids' room instead. But the first thing we've got in here is a closet where the owners could store their clothes. And moving left, we've got a mirror where the Mr. or Mrs. could either just check themselves out or shave if they needed to. And above the bed, we've got some extra storage space, and that's really about it. But you can see in here, there's once again another one of those bushes and also these curtains, which really just help out the look I was going for, which, like I mentioned, was really broken up and scattered about. And I guess my main reasoning for doing this was, in the end, just to differentiate it from most of our other builds, which are definitely, I think, a lot more open than this. But now that we've seen all of that, we'll go ahead and move on downstairs and check out where the servants work. And the first thing you may notice is the little seating arrangement here, which just kind of hints that the owners of this place aren't terrible. They do give their servants a nice place to, you know, just sit down and take a break instead of just working nonstop. But speaking of working, this is where all that's done. You can see it's one big giant kitchen and sort of a storage room as well. In here they've got lots of ingredients and other sorts of items that would help them prepare a meal, such as some wine, pots and pans, little recipes hung up here and there, and there's also a big giant pig roasting on the fire. But as for the servants' room, that is about it. So that's going to do it for the first floor and basement of the build, but I'm sure you guys know that's not all. We also have the second floor up top there, and also a space in the tower as well. And in order to get up there, some of you may have already seen this, the little staircase hidden off to the side. And that's one thing I should mention, is that although this build is very zigzaggy and I gotta say pretty difficult to make an interior for, I think all the little separated parts and just bits and pieces that stick out further really provide some nice extra room to store either just little tiny closets or, as you see here, some kind of a stairway that's really not too much in the way of anything else you're trying to build. And now that we're up here, I guess we'll go ahead and start on the left side, and then we'll work our way over to the right towards the end so we can finish off with the tower. But over here in this section, we've got another little seating area just to fill up blank space. Once again, this is always kind of a nice thing that you can just place down, and it's really never going to look bad depending on how you do it. Just don't make it too over the top. As you can see, maybe just a couple bookshelves or some plants here and there should be enough. And over in the far back, we have, like I mentioned earlier, the child's bedroom. And there's actually two of them, which is just kind of suggested by the two beds. And you can infer that maybe this one's a girl, since the flowers are over here, and then maybe this side is for the son, since there's the shield and swords. Or who knows, it could be the opposite. Maybe the boy sleeps over there, girl's right here. But I guess whoever's in this bed maybe is almost at the age where they could become a knight. And that's really about it for this room. I guess in the back we do have this desk with the checkerboard, just in case they get bored. And now that we're out of there, we'll check out the office, which is a really small space, but it does have some nice, natural lighting, which just kind of allows all these flowers to grow. And then way back here, we've got one more closet. And like I said, the fact that the build was really zigzaggy and had all the extra sections is really why this thing was actually possible. So I think if you're doing this build in survival mode, you're really going to have an awesome time figuring out where you could put all your supplies and whatnot, and it's really not going to be such a difficult task. But moving on from there, we've got a little balcony area which looks down at the living room, and there actually used to be quite a few more of these here and about, but I figured some extra rooms were a bit better than more balconies. I think this one does just fine on its own. But back here, since this is such a big house and the owner and kids may not be safe here, I guess they would be subject to, I guess maybe the poorer residents of the town, maybe trying to break in and steal stuff. So we've got a little guard's quarters back here, and the build isn't huge. It is on the bigger side, but it's only to the point where they might only need 2 guards, and that's why there's only one single bunk bed, whereas in our castles or forts that we've done in the past, there's definitely been quite a few more. But in here they've got weapons and some armor hung up, and also a little closet area and desk where they could also just get ready for the day and not look hideous by the time they get out of bed. Aside from those places though, we do have a couple other seating areas here and there, and that staircase I showed you guys towards the beginning is right here. So you can see how if you were the kids and someone was invading, they could just sprint down here and hop down the stairs and hopefully make a safe escape. But other than all those, we do have the tower, which goes all the way up here. And you'll notice this is quite a bit different from the rest of the build. It's definitely on the darker side, so maybe the owner of this place is a little bit into the dark arts and maybe some witchcraft stuff as well. You can see whoever's using this thing has definitely got some brewing stations and some very odd ingredients scattered about here and there, and even a corpse that's rotting away in the back, which they've tried to conceal with the curtains here, although they really have not done the best job. But other than that, there's once again some more ingredients and other necessities that, say, a mage or alchemist may need, and that's really about it. But anyways guys, that is going to do it for today, so hopefully you did enjoy this little show around. I know this build was very difficult to try and make an interior for. Not sure if any of you guys tried it on your own, but I will say, just the fact that it was not really one big central area, but instead a lot of little sections that branched off here and there, I think that on its own really made it a challenge to fill up and really make it all come together in the end. But yeah, maybe for those of you who tried the build on your own before watching this and possibly had a few sections that you couldn't really get to finish in, hopefully seeing this was able to give you some final ideas on how you could finish those up. And for the people who were just completely waiting to see this to fill everything in, I hope it gave you some inspiration and also a lot of ideas for things you could try on your own interior. Like I said, this was a difficult build to fill in, so if you don't get it right the first time, don't worry about it. I'd say just keep trying, and eventually you should get something you really enjoy. And after seeing these videos, just know you don't have to copy them one for one. Feel free to try your own stuff and just experiment, because that's really how you guys are going to get better in the end. But that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video nonetheless. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments, or if you've got any ideas for some future builds we could try out. I would love to hear those as well. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching. And as always, I will see you in the next one.